Law of exponents. What are exponents? Exponents, also known as powers, are values that show how many times to multiply a base number by itself. For example, 4 to the power of 3 is telling you to multiply 4 by itself 3 times. So we have 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. The number being raised by a power is known as the base, while the superscript number above it is the exponent or power. The equation above is said as 4 to the power of 3. The power of 2 can also be said as squared, and the power of 3 can be said as cube. These terms are often used when finding the area or volume of various shapes. Exponents are a way to simplify equations to make them easier to read. This becomes especially important when you're dealing with variables such as x and y, as x to the power of 7 times y to the power of 5 equals. Is easier to read than x times x times x times x times y times y times y. Exponent rules. There are 7 exponent rules, or laws of exponents, that the students need to learn. Each rule shows how to solve different types of math equations and how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide exponents. Product of power rules is in the form of a to the n times a to the m equals a to the power of n plus m. When multiplying two bases of the same value, keep the bases the same and then add the exponents together to get the solution. For example, 4 squared times 4 to the 5th equals 4 to the 7th, and 4 to the 7 is equal to 16,384. Quotient of powers rule is in the form of a to the n divided by a to the m equals a is to the power of n minus m. Multiplication and division are opposites of each number. Other. Match the same. The quotient rule acts as the opposite of the product rule. When dividing two bases of the same value, keep the base the same, and then subtract the exponents' values. For example, 5 to the 5th is divided by 5 to the 3 equals 5 to the 5 squared, and 5 squared is equal to 25. Power of a power rule is in the form of b to the n times m is equal to b to the power of n times m. This rule shows how to solve equations where a power is being raised by another power. For example, x cubed, the quantity of x cubed to the 3. In equation like the one above, multiply the exponent together and keep the base the same. For example, x cubed to the x cubed to the 3 equals x to the 9. Power of a product rule. When any base is being multiplied by an exponent, distribute the exponent to its part of the base. For example, the quantity of xy to the 3. In this equation, the power of 3 needs to be distributed to both the x and the y variables. And so we have x to the power of 3 times y to the power of 3. Power of a quotient rule. A quotient simply means that you're dividing two quantities. In this rule, you're raising a quotient by power, like the power of a product rule. The exponent needs to be distributed to all values within the brackets it's attached to. Example, the quantity of x divided by y to the power of 4 is equal to x to the power of 4 is divided by y to the power of 4. Zero power rule. B raised to 0 is equal to 1. Any base raised to the power of 0 is equal to 1. For example, a to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Negative exponent rule. b to the power of negative n equals 1 over b to the n. When there is a number being raised by a negative exponent, flip it into a reciprocal to turn the exponent into a positive. Don't use the negative exponent to turn the base into a negative. For example, 2 to the power of negative 3 is equal to 1 over 2 to the power of 3. That's all. Thank you.